everyone, welcome back. My people, it is quite unfortunate, heartbreaking that the C.A.N, Christian Association of Nigeria, is now colluding with the Nigerian government to deny that there's no Christian genocide in Nigeria. So look at this particular headline. The federal government of Nigeria has initiated diplomatic engagement with the United States government following fresh allegations by American lawmakers accusing Nigeria of complicity in what they describe as state-backed persecution and genocide against Christians. Look at the level of effort these people are making just to engage with USA to conceal and tell lies about the killings in Nigeria. Like, if these people can use this energy to tackle the insecurity we are facing today in Nigeria, like, we will not be here talking about whether it's Christian genocide or Muslim genocide. Just because this thing affected them directly. Yes, because USA are now want to sanction most of the corrupt politicians in Nigeria. Because of this going to affect them like directly, this is the reason why they are so quick to discuss it in the Senate. But if this is going to affect only Nigerians, my people, these people will not even have time to talk about it. This to show you that these people are just representing themselves, not we Nigerians. Honestly, this is really, really heartbreaking that now C.A.N, Christian Association of Nigeria, are now supporting Nigeria government to say, oh, there's no Christian genocide in Nigeria. The terrorists, they are killing everybody, both Muslims and the Christians. But when you look deeply, all these communities, Benue, Plateau State, that terrorists are wiping away, go and check. It's only Christians that are there. If Nigeria government truly, or they are really ready to tackle the insecurity, like engaging with the US or this and that, they will not even have time for that. What they will focus on, how do we tackle this insecurity? Whether it's Christians or whether it's Muslims. But no, they want to cover it up. You know, propaganda government. Let them continue and continue playing with the life of Nigerians. Anyway, let me allow you guys to listen and hear what Joseph Okechukwu, as well as Prophet El-Buba and others, what they have to say concerning this matter. Please do well to subscribe for more updates, like the video, share it, and also leave your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you so much for doing so.
Okay, so Christian Association of Nigeria. I just read that you guys have gone to the media, as expected, to dismiss the claim of Christian genocide in Nigeria. I read that. I wasn't told, I read it. One Abimbola from Christian Association of Nigeria has gone to tell the whole world that all of this is just noise. It's just some foreign actors trying to undermine the government of the day. Yes, you can fight against terrorism, help and support, let's fight terrorism, but all of this thing, it just is not true. The terrorists, they kill everybody. You know as much as I do, yes, terrorists kill everybody. They kill Christians, they kill Muslims. But there has never been any question, any doubt whatsoever as to whether Christians are being systematically eliminated to the point of genocide in this country called Nigeria. There has never been a question. Because you don't have the figures, I posted the figures recently because you guys will not go and take your time to get the numbers of casualties. Some other people did it for you. As at this year, 2025, it's about 125,000 Christians and about 60,000 Muslims. And you tell me there is no Christian genocide in Nigeria? And yet Nigeria is about the worst place to be a Christian? And yet Nigeria recently became the country with the worst life expectancy. And you tell me Christian genocide is not happening. You guys are cursed. You know, the Christian Association of Nigeria has been a very active and vibrant arm of any government that is in power. You guys have never in your lives been on the side of Christians. You have never openly made any major move to say that you are angry with what is happening to Christians in Nigeria. I've never seen any move, no action. You are Christian Association of Nigeria. Tell me what time in the history of your formation, especially since Boko Haram had dawned on Nigeria that you guys ever took a decision and made a move to challenge the government narrative or position on the killings? Not once. And today you are here again defending the actions of the government of the day. At the time that people are being killed, Christian villages, Christian farms are being completely taken over by terrorists. When they kill some Muslims, you'll be like, oh, but they are killing Muslims too. So because of that, there is no Christian massacre, there is no Christian genocide. Christian Association of Nigeria, I hope and pray that Christians all over the country, Nigeria, will know that you guys are not Christians. That even if you are fake Christians, and that you are not there to protect or fight for the interest of Christians. I said it on record. And we can go back into memory lane and look at all of your antecedents, all of them anti-Christian. You guys are a curse on the body of Christ. And all I can say is, may the God of heaven rebuke all of you one by one. You see, because of tribe and politics, you will now whitewash something that is going to affect so many people. Even if the foreigners who are campaigning against this government for their inaction over Christian massacres, even if they have an ulterior motive, even if there's something else they have in mind, why would you stand there and sugarcoat something that is known to even an unborn child, that there is a massive unfolding Christian genocide in Nigeria? We don't need Americans to tell us. Are you guys sick in your minds? You stupid things and claim you are Christian. Christian who? Whew. Help is on the way. Help is on the way. One way or another, God will see his people through. Oh, he will see his people through. Trust me. If it's for you guys, all these hopeless political associations, if it is for you people, all you are doing is canvassing for prayers all over the place. Pray for Nigeria, pray for Nigeria. Do not demarket Nigeria. Do not speak evil of Nigeria. But you don't want to look at the very foundational problem that Nigeria has. You are sitting down there saying absolutely nothing when the president of the federation gave only 2 ministerial slots to Igbo people, and you guys look at the injustices and how they have vowed that no Igbo man will ever rule Nigeria, and you look at the injustice, nobody is allowed to speak about it, but you're telling Igbos who are inside your churches to pray for Nigeria. And psychologically, you're seeing the people are being traumatized by injustice. What is the essence of church if it is not to support justice over injustice? If it is not to fight for the oppressed? Because church is business for Nigerians, is a political tool of control in Nigeria. That's why nobody will pay attention when it comes to defending the injustice meted on other people, like the Igbo people. You will say, oh no, you see, church is church. We don't get involved in politics. But when it comes to whitewashing the lie that is putting a dent on the government of the day, you will get the church involved in praying. You will start speaking up. You will start having protests. 1 million man march, shutting down Ojota, doing all these things, but you can't get involved in the other acts of injustice. You fake people. I say it again, the help is on the way by the special grace of God, one way or another. God bless you.
I'm speaking to every one of you Nigerians. And I want us to take note of this. We all have, I keep saying it, we have a responsibility to defend and protect the integrity of our country. We also have a responsibility to make sure that this country do not go into the point where we continue to ride on deception. Truth is truth, and truth must not be covered for anything. If there is anything that has been brought up, we must work together to see to an end to this reality. There is this issue that is ongoing about the genocide in Nigeria against the Christians of the Middle Beltans. It is true. We can't deny it. Before the militants and some of the Islamic militants began to kill some of the Hausas in Zamfara and other places, we all know that Christian communities were totally displaced. And we have recorded tens of thousands of Christians in the northern Nigeria that have been killed and their communities have been taken away. This is genocide. What is the meaning of genocide? I mean, the English definition is there. What genocide means. Now, I want you, except you are an enemy of Nigeria, but if you know that you're passionate and you're patriotic about the state of this country, then we must share this among ourselves and speak the truth to ourselves and agree with the reality of what is on ground. I have had some of the special assistant media and all of that to the president coming out to say there is no genocide in Nigeria. It's a lie, absolute lie. Just look at it. From in 2025, over 7,000 Christians were killed. Now, in just 2025, 7,087 Christians were killed in 220 days of 2025 alone. Now, daily average Christians that are being killed per day is 32 Christians per day that are being killed in this country. Another record, in 2024, 3,100 Christians were killed. In 2023, 4,118 Christians were killed. Between the period of October 2022 to September 2023, from the documents that we have, 4,118 Christians were killed. We all know about the Christmas massacre that was coordinated by the Fulani militias on the plateau in 2023. You know that 300 Christians were massacred. So you don't talk about Benue. Just within 2023, 500 Christians were killed throughout 2023 in Benue. And you go to this community, I have been there. The Christians are not there any longer. They have been displaced. So there is genocide in Nigeria. And so nobody can tell us lies when we know we have lost so much of our brethren. I have joined in the burial and the mourning of tens of thousands of Christians that have been destroyed and killed in this great country. All I encourage the Nigerian state is to rise up to occasion. Whether it is an attack on a Muslim, whether it is an attack on a church, we must stop it. There is genocide going on. And people are being eliminated, taken away from their community. And I want to say again, we cannot allow a one-party system in this country. It is not healthy. As much as we give our support to the system and the government to succeed, Nigeria cannot survive on one-party system. And I want to say to all these selfish, self-centered politicians, it is time you rethink your actions. Corruption among you must stop, and you must rise up for this time to make sure that Nigeria is salvaged and that together we fix this country. May God help every Nigerian And may God continue to watch over the system and make things work for the good of everyone. God bless you. Share this with every Nigerian of good conscience. Let's pray. Number two, let's participate in the process and make sure that people don't just come on media. I was hurt, I was injured to see some of these media men coming on to say there is no genocide in this country. Lies must stop, and it must stop in our time. God bless you.
Was your reaction to Senator Cruz's comments and also the response to the Nigerian government as well?
Thank you very much. I think one major thing that we need to learn in this country, especially under this administration, it is not so unique to this administration. It has been the same thing with many others, especially the past one under Buhari. We are somehow unnecessarily reactive. We don't seem to respond to issues in patterned diplomatic manners. Anybody outside this country, from any other country, could make any statement, whether disparaging or a statement of fact, about Nigeria. Remember that Nigeria is not in isolation from other. We belong to the Committee of Nations. And this country has ambassadorial representatives of many countries, especially the United Nations, with whom we do a lot of things, and we have many bilateral relationships and agreements. So when statements are made, we should look at those statements and see the merit or the demerit, and then make appropriate responses that will show that our response is not frenetic. For example, like my people say, when you leave the leg of the frog and hold the taproot of a tree, you lose the frog. And that is what we normally do. Even under the previous administration, we're usually very reactive. And so most of the time we lose the substance. It is in the public domain that when the attacks started from Boko Haram and other insurgents, it looked very clearly, and they stated the objective that they wanted to Islamize Nigeria. And it looked very clearly that the targets were Christian organizations, outfits, and individuals. Even as we speak, many priests, very hardly did you hear or do you hear that imams have been kidnapped and all that. But they have made a feast of kidnapping reverend fathers, especially of the Roman Catholic faith. We see that every day, we hear that. And you cannot say that the United States does not have ears. This is in the open, and people wailing and crying. And some of the time, some organizations or NGOs from that area, including some government outfits, will advance some aids, and we gladly accept. So why are we pretending like the ostrich? The issue is that, yes, there have been lately some attacks that give the impression that they are now unable to reach certain targets. So they are now dealing with those who are available, including the first time they attacked a mosque somewhere in Borno State. And I will vividly hear somebody in the National Assembly who expressed tremendous shock that they were now even attacking their fellow Muslims. And I was asking myself, was the plan against the Christians exclusively? So when people, and the statement was made in the public domain. So what the Nigerian government and the people in this administration should do is to show that even though that was the initial plan, because terrorists are terrorists, what if they planned to do that in order to cause religious war? What if they did that to portray the government of the day as anti-Christianity? What if they did that to cause mayhem in Nigeria in order for them to be able to advance their cause? So the government and its representatives should be more deep thinking. They should do more introspection. And there are a number of people who seem to be feasted on the expressed action of these terrorists. And so you see them showing support even on television. And we see them going to hold meetings and so on and so forth. And the report would have been in the public domain that 2, 3, 4 days earlier that these people committed mayhem in certain locations, and some other people are holding meetings with them, with their own guns and ammunition with them. So I think the main thing now is for the government to look at itself and see what has gone wrong and demonstrate good faith. We have a Muslim ticket here. It cannot happen that Christian ticket will be allowed by some very fundamentalist religious bigots. But when you find that you are bending your neck and somebody is using stone to finish it, it looks as if you are a weak person. So I think it is important that the government should change its attitude and refine-tune its response. The response to me is not deep. It's frenetic, it's reactive, and it's superficial. It cannot scratch the surface, because you are saying that the man who made that statement in the U.S. Congress floor is a foolish man. But we know that senators in that climb are usually more serious than what we have down here about, I think they talk about take a bow and things like that. So we need to be a little bit more serious, and we shouldn't dance naked in the public domain.
And Dr. Naji, I want to press you a little bit more on that. When you say that we should be more serious, what tangible steps should the Nigerian government take to actually yield to something that will be to our benefit? Because I think we often see reports, we often see comments, but what can actually be done? We can even give a timeline. What can be done in the next 2 years to improve how we're seen globally as a country?
If you recall the history of the handling of the insurgent, even ordinary insurgent, not even the Boko Haram, by the previous administration, and then the carryover of certain attitudes in the current dispensation. At a time, so many corpses were being exhumed or buried. The former president, Buhari, asked the wailing governor of Benue State then that he should go and make peace with his neighbors. That was too simplistic and completely unforgivable for a commander-in-chief, you know. Even if his own family was fighting with another family, as the president, he needed to make peace and speak more objectively so that there will be reconciliation. So given the impression that it was the governor that was incapable of accommodating the people who were obviously on a mission to grab their land, who were provoking them by destroying their farms with their cattle. They say it's a communal header farmer. It's not a conflict. It's an attack, flagrant attack. And the current dispensation, where you find a driver who is using one leg to pedal the throttle and using the other one to apply brake, he will never get to Enugu from Shagamu. He will never do that because the vehicle will stagnate. So when you have some military personnel fighting, sweating it out in the front against these dastardly groups, then you find a particular view on television glaringly showing some people with their arms and ammunition in military fatigues, where you have security agents and the civil authorities in certain states discussing with them in their domain. Doesn't show seriousness. It doesn't show seriousness. The National Security Advisor will see that. The Commander-in-Chief, even if he did not see it, would have been briefed. He ought to have taken some steps to show some seriousness, even if nothing else, to summon the governor of that state. Because it is very wrong to think that what is happening in Middle Belt and some other parts of the country now under the insurgency can be equated to the Niger Delta militancy. No, because we hear a lot of people saying this is their own militant, therefore they should be discussed with, settled, and resettled, so to speak, and given some money. It is not poverty. I am not a very rich man, but you have not seen me carrying gun. And there are so many people from this southern part of the country that are being ravaged by poverty, but the last thing they will think about is to kill their fellow human being, just for the demonstration of that. So this thing is being driven by an ideology Yes, that may not be the government policy, but the government must show, not by a tacit response, but demonstrate it expressly that the constitutional provision of secularism of this country is inviolate. That is exactly what we are saying. And it is doable. Look at the billions and billions of naira and dollars that are being wasted needlessly on unnecessary side insurgency that should have been plowed into the development of this country on all facets of development, being wasted, human lives wasted, and time wasted. Nigeria is not progressing. We are, in fact, retrogressing. But the popular saying is, as if I cannot be fatter, let me remain the same size. That's the prayer of every human being, so that you don't begin to regress.
And I think you brought up a very interesting point by speaking about the human lives that are caught in the middle of this, because the US can be saying something, the Nigerian government can be saying something, but at the end of the day, it's people, it's Nigerian people, our citizens who are being impacted. How do you think Nigerian citizens should be looking at all of this? Just regular people on the street, how should they be seeing this war of words between the US and Nigerian government officials?
Let me tell you the honest truth, Annie. Everybody canvasses that my mother or his mother or her mother is the best cook under the sun. But the truth will be told when they get to their mommy, you always cook with excess salt and pepper. And it doesn't as tasty as the one I eat at the other. The same thing, a husband will not come to disparage the wife in the public domain. But most of the time, he will want to have lunch outside before going home, even when he's closing late. That's a demonstration that he doesn't enjoy the tongue taste of the food being prepared at home. We know ourselves in this country, and people voice this thing out, even in social media, in a faceless posting. So much so that under the previous administration, there were very spirited attempts to stifle public opinion through that medium and platform. So the truth of the matter is that the cat has left the cage. The only way the government can do is to do the right thing. There is a difference between power and authority. Power is the raw power enshrined by the law. Yes, you may have grabbed it. But if you do not have the perception of legitimacy on the side of the people, compliance when you give out that instruction or make laws will be very difficult. And if you continue to enforce it rigidly, you will descend into dictatorship. And that also have its own repercussion, because at a point, when you push people to the tree and they cannot enter that tree, they fight back. So the issue I'm addressing here now is that government has a very serious opportunity to redress some of these things. Take steps, be decisive. Nobody can say that government will always exterminate some bad people. But when you get one, make a very clear example of such people so that it will send signals in no unmistakable terms that you are not with them, that you will punish if you are caught. And everybody knows that you cannot continue to wield gun until one dies. It's either the person is killed wielding the gun or captured and killed by that gun. So the better the person drops the gun. And it has been demonstrated in time past, a few occasions, where pressure is brought to bear on these insurgents, they begin to surrender. And then some of their sponsors, advocates, and so on will begin to say, let us rehabilitate them. It's hunger. Find them. Then, in their very presence, and what's the Buddha in those halcyon days, will say, in their very before, these people will recant and go back to what they were used to. Because a dog will always go back to its vomit. So, at the end of the day, some of these things becomes a case of rigmarole. Pretending to surrender when the heat is on, then regroup and come back with greater ferocity. So we need to be more intelligent to know that even when some people in government, even Jonathan lamented that Boko Haram and some insurgents had infiltrated the government. But lamentation doesn't solve problem. It is the action. I don't know what he did to redress it or confront it because he had the powers to have done that. Or if the heat was too much, you get out of the kitchen. See, same thing I'm saying to, signal I'm sending to. This is not the Bola Ahmed Tinubu we used to know in Lagos. It doesn't seem that he has enough time to address some of these things. When you give out some of your powers, you do not supervise. If you delegate without proper supervision, even though you take responsibility for whatever outcome, you are likely to get either somebody who out of incompetence or some kind of sabotage, or both of them will not deliver, and you take responsibility. At the end of the day, it is on your table that the buck stops. So government must be careful and take decisive action, demonstrate it to the people. Nigerians are very easy to convince, not with tribalism and religion. But when people from your own religion and tribe begin to say, well, I don't think things are working, it is putting it most mildly. Most mildly. In a family, some children may not say that their father is a weakling, but they need food. They go to the neighbor to beg food. It is complete signal that the man has failed. So please, there is still time, and let us not continue with this propaganda. Those people who carry the propaganda are the ones chopping the money and rubbing the oil on the of the president.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, Dr. Naji, I had more questions, but let's move to the second topic of President Tinubu nominating Professor Joash Amupitan as the new INEC chairman. And this was interesting to me because it felt like one day we heard that Professor Mahmoud Yakubu had stepped down. The next moment we heard that it was May had stepped in, Miss May had stepped in as interim chairman. Then the next moment we heard that, okay, we have a new chairman already. It moved very, very quickly. How did you see the progression of this new chairman being named, and what kind of environment is he stepping into? Because everyone has their eyes on 2027 right now.
Let me start with the fixation on professors. Previous experience has shown us that, like people used to say that in those days when we used to have Irish fathers, they came with very long gowns, and people didn't know they were even wearing trousers, not to talk about, they were even wearing shorts, not to talk about trousers. The breeze blows and you see that those reverend fathers were wearing trousers after all. This issue of being professor does not necessarily automatically confer integrity. Especially, somebody might be very, very, very strong in character, but has not been tested, such that the person can even crumble in the face of a very strong and catastrophic pressure. We have seen that being a professor does not necessarily mean that you will deliver in the political terrain. Because let us look at what Peter Drucker said, that sometimes people can be promoted to their level of incompetence. You cannot, because somebody was a supervisor, make him a manager. He has to undertake the training and gather the experience and competence, the skills required for the new job. And this is not what we normally do here. I'm not bothered about whether it's this Professor Amputemi or Shipiton or any other person. What I am bothered about is the fact of delivering, the competence to deliver. What we are looking at is even the major argument should be, should a president who has a partisan interest in a forthcoming election reserve the right to appoint somebody who will be an umpire in such an election? Does it accord with common reason? That is the question now. And these lily-livered politicians that have peopled the National Assembly, hiding under the cloak of majority of a particular party, will never have the guts to tamper with that particular provision. Because everything is for their own interest. And the interest of the politician is no longer the interest of the country. So patriotism takes a very bad back seat. So the question now is, how do we ensure that even the person the president has appointed, in an election he will participate, and he so dearly values, because the president doesn't have a passing interest in the forthcoming election. He is neck deep into it, and we can see all the snippets flying around. It is not good enough. It does not give a very good perception that that power is situated in him. Fair enough, other previous presidents have done that, and we have also seen what happened out of them, and so on and so forth. So the point is not for me whether it is this professor or another person. It is that the circumstance is already ossified. If you pour cold water in a burning fire that is already heating another water that is in the kettle there, that one will join the level of temperature. You can only bring it down marginally and then join the final temperature to continue boiling as well. So the structure determines the function. If the structure is bad, the function will not be excellent. That is the point. And we should address this to make sure that we have a structural reform that will deliver, that is designed to deliver. If you want something to have locomotion, you cannot make it in such a way that it does not look like vehicles that have tire or human beings that have legs. Even King Kong, when they do robotic, they must be given legs. That's because you want them to move. Structurally, you have prepared them for movement. But if you make it to look like a long stick lying on the floor, it can never move unless something rolls it, even if it is in accord with Newton's third law. So the point I'm making is Newton's first law, that every inertia can always be pushed by force. So that is the point I'm making. I'm not so bothered about who is appointed now. I'm not excited either, because even if you put a priest, unfortunately, even priesthood and pastor is no longer the yardstick for competence and character. So the issue is, let us pray to God that somebody going there, finding that the heat is too much, can decide honorably to resign and embarrass the system and shake it. The only way the electoral process can be trustworthy or even trusted, because our faith have been terribly shaken by Yakubu, and you could see the ignominy with which he exited. But Nigerians never get ashamed insofar as they have achieved their own personal interests.
So my people, look at this headline. Tinubu jet to Rome for counter-terrorism meeting. And Nigerians are not having it. So this person said, counter-terrorism meeting in a country with no terror attack. Ona go suffer, eh? And this person said, Baba is flying out to Italy after releasing convicted criminals into Nigeria society via presidential pardon. And another person said, if he is serious about the insecurity, he should visit Northwest and Northeast to see people of that region for what terrible insecurities they are facing. And this person said, you recently pardoned convicted criminals, but you are jetting to Rome for a counter-terrorism meeting. Wow. And another person said, you released terrorists, then jet out to go attend counter-terrorism meeting. Please define counter-productivity. And another person said, after giving presidential pardon to drug traffickers and kidnappers, how else do you define terrorism? And this person said, a serious president will open his country for immediate independent investigation, inviting international community to join in the fact-finding investigation. Jetting up and down and lobbying about something that is obvious wouldn't solve the problem. US already have their reports. And this person said, the president will go there, and instead of letting the world know of the issues of terrorism the country is facing with, he will rather go there to brag about how his government has wiped out terrorism in Nigeria and how Nigeria is now one of the safest places to live in on earth now. That is Tinubu for you. Tinubu government is a propaganda government, and they don't want to face the reality. That is the reason why we are still going backward, especially when it comes to insecurity, because they don't want to complain. They don't want to tell the world the truth. You see how they are running hater-scatter just to go to US to, tell them lies. Oh, there is no killings in Nigeria. There's no Christian genocide in Nigeria. Why we know very well that like Nigerians are dying like every day by these terrorists. So my people, that is it. As I bring this update to you guys. I don't know what you think, which I would love you to leave your thoughts in the comment section as always. Like the video, share it, and also subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys in my next update. Goodbye for now.
Welcome to Chamress News TV.